Rookie mistake. That's all right. We'll edit it all.
You hadn't even gotten into the whiskey yet.
Nah. Here, I tell you what we'll do. We'll fix it. We'll fix it for the live show.
You know, that's good because, well, no, this is the live show, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, like the live, all right,
the podcast.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's good because all the inappropriate stuff we just talked about is now, that was filtered.
That's right. That's right.
You got to see our animated faces, but not experience.
That's right.
Or be offended.
Well, hey, what I was just talking about is we've got this great series called Pipe Culture.
Yeah.
Pipe Culture is where we take a look of aspects of pop culture as they might relate to the culture surrounding the pipe. You know, there's a lot of common threads out there that people who come to the pipe share. And if you walk into any pipe shop in America, you may hear very similar conversations going on, even though these people come together from very, very diverse backgrounds from different aspects of the country. So that being said, we're reopening Pipe Culture and we've got a topic.
Gonna be fun.
We're going to be talking about hipsters.
Oh, it's a little polarizing, right?
Is it?
I mean, I think so.
Okay. Well, I mean, so we won't get into it too much,
right?
Because really what we want to know is what you guys think.
That's right.
Pipe culture of the past, we've always gathered up emails and thoughts from listeners and really let you guys take the reins of the show and dictate how the conversation goes. By its very nature, we're not trying to create pipe culture. We're trying to study it.
Well, we're studying it and observing it. And as you mentioned, I think maybe before we were unmuted, you know, it's part of that concept of finding the common threads that connect us. And we found a lot. We've also found a lot of diversity, but we want to explore that. Hipsters obviously do fit in a puzzle piece into the community. Some of us smoked a pipe before we were hipsters. Some of us are hipster denials, like we might be hipsters, but we don't call ourselves that.
Yeah.
You're looking at me in judgment.
No, I'm not. But, I'm intrigued. Intrigue is what I know.
But you know, it's one of those things. Like we have seen this revival of kind of old school, you know, practices and thought, and of course the hipster culture has adopted some of that. And so we're just gonna explore it and hear what you have to say.
Get your thoughts together. We'll be posting out a reminder on Facebook and Twitter throughout the weeks as we lead up to it. I think we're looking at not next week, but the next week, talking about that subject matter. So get in your emails today and let us know your thoughts.
And if our friend Brian Levine has any pictures of himself in skinny jeans, those would be appreciated.
Yes, we need that.
Yeah,
we absolutely
anything from the 70s. If he's got, you know, saddle Oxfords or leisure suits, that'd be great.
Well, you know, there are other holidays that surround us right now. Before I get into that, is there anything else that you'd like to do?
Yeah, a couple other things. Here locally at the shop, this Wednesday night, which is February 17th, we've got the Peterson and Ashton Pipe Tobacco event, which we're really excited about. So our friend Vince Jones with Peterson and Ashton of America Distributors, they are the Peterson folks, really gracious folks, and they're going to come down and do a tobacco tasting here at the Squire. So if you're anywhere, you know, in a driving distance listening to this, and of course, this will be the day this podcast comes out. So if you're hearing this Wednesday morning and you immediately are going to cancel your plans and take it to the Country Squire,
hop in the car.
Come on. It's a free event. We'll have some adult beverages and a lot of great tobaccos from our friends at Peterson and Ashton to try for free. There'll also be some specials, which we will announce that evening. We do have some St. Patty's Day pipes, which just came in. And so I haven't announced yet what shapes those are and all that, but that'll be forthcoming.
Specifically Peterson St. Patrick's Day?
That's exactly right.
All right.
Yeah, they're beautiful. So yeah, that. Also, I feel like we have to mark the fact that a very well-known pipe smoker just passed away. And this person is someone that's, if you're in the world of politics or government or surely justice, you know, you kind of know of this person well, but Justice Antonin Scalia just died. He was 79 years old. President Reagan appointed him to the Supreme Court back, I believe, in the early 80s. And Antonin Scalia was a pipe smoker. He was one of the probably, you know, most polarizing figures on the court. Regardless of what you thought about him, though, he was brilliant, very smart man, and loved to smoke a pipe. From a big Catholic family, kind of New York, you know, kind of had that attitude, and so very much, you know, life of the party, larger than life, and all that kind of thing. As polarizing as he was, you know, reached out across to people of different, you know, political orientations from himself very often. And I'd like to think that's, you know, that's a characteristic of pipe smokers. So anyway, we celebrate Antonin Scalia, whether we agree with him or not.
Hey, politics is polarizing. The pipe is not.
The pipe is not.
No.
Common threads.
That's
so
right.
Anyway, just marking that. Thought it'd be good to mention that.
Man, that's good. That's good. Well, let's also mention, of course, as appropriate to kind of touch a little bit on politics, because as we are broadcasting, today is actually President's Day.
It is. Yeah.
And we're also coming off of Valentine's weekend. So in honor of Valentine's and the sweeter things,
That's
and
right.
in fact, some of our presidents who had affinity for cherry trees, we are opening up a new series.
That's right.
We are actually starting a series called the Top 3.
Top 3.
And this week we open it up, given again that it's President's Day as well as coming off of Valentine's Day, with the top 3 cherry tobaccos.
Mm-hmm. I figured that would be a good way to kind of, ease off the overwhelming joy and the excruciating pain of Valentine's Day.
Well, yeah,
kind of come away. Today's Monday after, and so you've got all the chocolates on sale at Walgreens for half off, and so we can go there. Bo, you probably enjoyed a nice glass of wine with your lovely wife, and me, I played Bejeweled on my laptop and drank a whole bottle of wine.
Actually, I was chasing around children who would not go to sleep until like the wee hours of the night. So,
good.
And then as soon as I did, I think I passed out on the floor somewhere. Not from alcohol consumption, just from
exhaustion.
pure exhaustion. Yeah. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. Exactly. We thought we'd take this moment, as a top 3. We thought it'd be a lot of fun to talk about cherry blends, and when you think of that old grandpa pipe tobacco smell, a lot of folks think immediately of a sweet cherry Cavendish, something that's really sweet, fills the air with a nice aroma. And you always think of your drugstore cherry blend. It's just kind of one of these things that you think of a lot, you equate a lot with pipe tobacco. Every single time a new pipe smoker comes in here, if their experience with the pipe before they walked in was something like that grandpa deal, they always say, do you have a good cherry blend? Like, show me what you got that tastes like cherry. Well, and it's a real common theme.
Appropriate that we mentioned the pipe culture at the top of the show, because back when we did our pipe culture episode on origins, it was a very common thread. A lot of people had cherry tobacco, regardless of what their opinions are about it today.
Yeah.
A lot of people have that tied to their origin.
Sorry, I was confused.
No, it's all right.
That's what editing is for. No, it really is. And of course, there's been a variety of cherry tobaccos over the lifetime of pipe smoking. Now, it's funny, you get on a lot of these online forums, and we're obviously, Bo, we're plugged into the online community by nature of being a podcast.
A little bit.
And now being on, YouTube and that kind of thing. But cherry tobaccos amongst, those that profess to be real connoisseurs of the pipe are kind of looked down upon a little bit. You've got those folks out there that would rather put sawdust in their mouth than a cherry pipe tobacco.
Well, it gets to that tobacco snob level.
Yeah,
right?
I think it's part of that, and I understand that. I don't smoke a ton of aromatics myself, but in the world of pipe tobacco, cherry tobaccos have such a important place. Because of kind of, just the nature of what they are.
Is it the Jar Jar Binks of pipe tobacco?
It might be. No, I don't know. I don't know. That's awful.
Some people
don't put that on cherry.
No, hang on. Hang on. Some people, especially younger people who are first getting into Star Wars for the first time, saw Jar Jar Binks and loved the character. But as they grew older, their tastes may have changed.
Yeah, but
there's an entire generation of people that Jar Jar Binks was their entry into Star Wars. I don't think I'm necessarily, I think I'm just noting the polarizing nature of cherry tobacco when comparing it to the Jar Jar Binks of tobacco.
That's fair, but I don't feel like murdering cherries, I don't I don't feel like destroying them as a species. Like I don't know.
Fair enough.
Yeah, the Gungans are not as not as lovable to me.
You still gonna smoke the cherry tobacco?
It's terrible, right? No, cherry blends have their place, and we obviously have several at the Squire that we'll talk about later. But we wanted to talk about kind of the top 3 cherry blends of all time, according to John David Cole Tobacconist. So, even though you've got folks out there that don't smoke cherry blends a lot, you might be familiar with other cherry blends, and I'd love to hear maybe your top 3 cherry blends. And so this is me. This is where I come from.
So what order are we going in? 3, 2, 1?
We can.
Okay.
Should we go in 3, 2, 1?
Let's do 3, 2, 1.
Let's do 3, 2, 1. Okay. The first one I'll mention, number 3, is going to be the Sam Gawith Celtic Talisman tobacco. Now this is an interesting pick, and I chose it because Gawith tobaccos are always very high quality. This is a tobacco that obviously Sam Gawith spent a ton of time working on. The flavors are going to be relatively nuanced for an aromatic tobacco. You open the tin, it's generally, like most Sam Gawith tobaccos, pretty moist, so you'll probably have to let it dry out some. But this is a kind of a light aromatic with cherry and vanilla topping on it. And it's one of those that, I think it carries the flavor throughout the rest of the bowl, which is really nice. The description reads, bright Virginias, burley black Cavendish, topped with a dash of sweet cherry and vanilla, a medium-strength tobacco with a good room note. Which is just kind of characteristic of Sam Gawith tobaccos. They're all tend to be relatively medium bodied. I feel like you've got some that are stronger, but it's a good tobacco. It's one of those that I think if you're a non-aromatic smoker and you want to try cherry tobacco, the Sam Gawith Celtic Talisman is going to be one of those that you might be able to go to and kind of work in your rotation as an occasional change up.
How long has it been around?
I'm not sure. I'm actually not sure.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said the name of it specifically was Talisman?
Yeah. Celtic Talisman.
What a cool name.
Yeah, I know, right?
I wouldn't associate that name with cherry.
The thing is, like, Sam Gawith tobaccos are so funny. Like, you look at the tin and you're like, oh, it's beautiful, but then it doesn't say anything about the tobacco on the tin.
Right.
Like all their tobaccos, unless it says something about the flavor in the name, you have no idea what it is. So like full Virginia flake, like you smoke that and you're like, oh, well, obviously it's going to be Virginia. But when you look at this and the pretty picture on the front, you're like, well, I don't know where this is going to take me at all. But it took you to cherry trees in Ireland.
Man, well, there you go.
With a talisman. Yeah,
so that is your number 3 pick here.
That's number 3.
All right.
Number 2, I've selected McClelland 3 Cherry. Now, if you're a longtime listener to the show, you know that we're fans of McClelland. Very long-time relationship between McClelland Tobacco Company and our shop, and we use a ton of their tobaccos in our blends. But I wanted to mention 3 Cherry. 3 Cherry is a blend that we don't carry here at the Squire, but I think is worth you checking out at some point if you get a chance. We'll read the description. It says 3 deliciously different cherry flavors: refreshing Duke, fermented maraschino, and rich Kansas sweet cherry grace this balanced blend of lemon Virginia and black Cavendish. So you think of 3 Cherry, and if you're like me initially, you don't think cherry is that nuanced. You're like, no, it's just cherry.
Mm-hmm.
But once you think about it, like, there are a lot of different kinds of cherry.
Sure.
You've got, like, the real syrupy cordial cherry and a black cherry, and cherries that are more maybe like when you drink wine, you kind of have that tannin dryness to it.
Sure.
So almost more like a muscadine. Like cherries can be like that too.
What do you call the cocktail cherries?
I think that's the maraschino cherry.
Maraschino,
yeah,
right.
which has been soaked in the like a simple syrup.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, what McClelland's done is they've taken the flavors of the Duke cherry, which is a let's see, it's a semi-sweet cherry with a hint of sour, and it's more tangy. So think about cherry that's going to have that a bit of a sour component to it. Okay. The maraschino cherry, obviously they put in there, which think the cocktail cherry.
Right.
So think like you're making an old fashioned or a Manhattan or something, put that in there. So it's preserved in this simple syrup solution. And then a Kansas sweet cherry, which is actually more of a bright, tart, pulpy, think real bright cherry. We've got a tobacco here at the Squire that really features this Kansas sweet. It's called Trumpeter. And it's real bright. I always describe it as a bright cherry.
Right,
so that's
right.
that's what that is. But so anyway, what McClelland's done is they've blended these 3, and in true McClelland form, this is an aromatic tobacco that is not super syrupy. It's just not a really, really syrupy tobacco. So it's one of those that you can smoke it, you'll enjoy it, the room note will be great, but it's not going to do a number on your pipe, which I appreciate.
To me. I mean, I would imagine something like that with the triple cherry. The 3 Cherry, then it's going to be more of a syrupy.
Well, and certainly it's a moister tobacco than anything that's non-cased or non-aromatic. But the thing about McClelland, they do such a good job is they're flavoring process just leaves the tobacco super clean. And that's almost universal about all their stuff. That's just my personal opinion. But
let me ask you this: if they're
yeah.
casing each tobacco, obviously each tobacco is going to be cased differently to match the cherries that you described. But
yeah,
is it the same base tobacco, or maybe that's top secret?
That I don't know. Well, they say they use a mixture of lemon Virginias and black Cavendish. Now, you know, what that means exactly, we don't know. McClelland is notorious about, you know, being pretty tight-lipped about their recipes and stuff. But yeah, anyway, that's what they've done.
It's cool. So I got to tell you, man, I'm not typically a cherry pipe tobacco connoisseur. However, my mouth is starting to water.
Is your mouth watering a little bit?
A little bit. What you got at number one?
All right, number one, and this may or may not be kind of a polarizing selection, but you know, you can't talk about the top 3 cherry blends of all time without talking about Middleton's cherry blend. Now, Middleton's tobacco, this is your grandpa's cherry blend. Okay, this is the blend that you walked into the Save-A-Lot or the 7-Eleven or whatever, and you're going to buy a cherry blend back in 1964. Like Middleton's cherry is what you're going to look for. It's a drugstore blend over the counter. It's not something you'd probably find a lot of in a shop like the Country Squire or a fine pipe shop somewhere else. But Middleton's cherry blend is so synonymous with that 20th century sweet cherry that you just think of grandpa smoking, which is great. It's a Virginias and Burleys with Cavendish and that bright cherry casing, and just think old school cherry blend. It's one of those that is it going to burn hot? Probably. Is it going to have a really sweet smell? Probably. Are you going to want to smoke it all the time if you're sensitive to like hot burning tobaccos? Probably not. But man, it's Middleton's cherry. Like that is mid-century cherry tobacco. Man. So it's kind of what that is. But anyway, Middleton's tobacco, my understanding is in 2014 they actually discontinued all the Middleton's tobacco. So and they left a lot of folks that were so used to these great Middleton's blends from the decades before going away. And so what a lot of big retailers have done is they've actually matched the Middleton's blends, and so you can find Middleton's match around, which is going to kind of pay homage to this cherry of theirs. But I feel like you couldn't do justice to cherry tobaccos without talking about Middleton's. And
so I mean so you're putting that top tier.
Yeah.
Do you have a special relationship there?
I don't. Should I?
I'm just curious.
I don't. I don't smoke a lot of tobaccos that are flavored with cherry. I have my personal favorite is ours at the shop, which is called Flambeau. We've made Flambeau for years and years. Really high quality ingredients. We love that. So I do smoke that occasionally, but other than that, I just don't smoke a lot of cherry tobacco. So,
well, look, man, sounds like a really delicious selection. I can't get this Jar Jar Binks thing out of my head though. And in fact, actually somebody, I think Russ Hicks put it out on the Twitter. They suggested that Jar Jar Binks should be the next name for one of your cherry tobacco blends.
Yeah.
We've talked about doing the Star Wars type of inspired blends.
We have.
The problem, of course, is if you make a cherry blend that's called Jar Jar Binks, you both have the problem of being a cherry blend and being called Jar Jar Binks, and no one would buy it.
No one, right. They would buy it just to throw it away.
So you make a cherry blend, and then you hit it hard with Latakia, and you call it Death to Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, okay, that works. That works. Man, someone out there loves Jar Jar Binks, and we're going to hear from them tonight. Honorable mention cherry blends that I feel like we have to mention. Like I said, at our shop we've got Flambeau, which I love, Trumpeter, and then another one called Saratoga. But as far as blends that you can find anywhere. We've got Jason Cooper tweets in, I've tried CAO Cherry Bomb and Blood Red Moon Cult Cherry, Blood Red Moon Cult tobacco, and he likes both of those. The Cult, he says, was really good. Lane Very Cherry, great cherry tobacco. Lane, of course, big friend of the show, and they make a good cherry tobacco. It's very cherry. Boswell's Cherry Smash. Don't you want to smoke something called Cherry Smash?
No.
I wouldn't want to smoke that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it probably wouldn't be in my regular rotation, but it's like that makes me think of like a cherry limeade from Sonic or something.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
I can see it.
You see what I'm saying? And then Mac Baron 7 Seas Red. I've never had that particular Mac Baron tobacco, but the reviews are really good on it. So just some honorable mentions there for for some other cherry blends.
Yeah, actually, Hawk to the Love Doctor put out his 3 as well, which includes the 7 Seas Red from Mac Baron, Lane Limited's TK6, and then Stokkebye's Cherry Bonbon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Cherry Bonbon I've heard is good. The Take 6 from McClelland is fantastic. Really, really good stuff. I have had that before.
Fair enough. Well, good stuff. Mark VV says Bink's blood.
Bink's blood, right? Wait, man, I'm telling you, the Gungan faction of our listenerhood is
they're going to rise up.
Feels persecuted.
There's going to be a lot of Gungan love in the future. I have no doubt. But hey, is there a lot of cherry love? We want to hear your thoughts on that as well. So,
absolutely.
We'll be posting it out on Facebook. We'd love to get your thoughts on what your top 3 cherry tobaccos are. And as we do future top 3 episodes, I think one of the things we may do is actually before actually having the episode, maybe posting something to Facebook, gathering up your thoughts. It's always great to get the live show and y'all's feedback over Twitter, but maybe even just kind of gathering some different thoughts prior to going live. It'd be kind of fun just to get more of, what you guys are all about. And perhaps we got your top 3 and then a community top 3.
I like it.
Could be kind of cool.
I like it.
Well, let me tell you something that's not just kind of cool, but really cool.
Yeah.
That's the great fine pipes from Missouri Meerschaum.
Man, we do love a Missouri Meerschaum pipe.
Look, Missouri Meerschaum makes a fine quality corncob pipe. In fact, if you know corncob pipes, you know Missouri Meerschaum because they make the best corncob pipes that are out there. And they are, of course, a sponsor of the show. In fact, this show is brought to us by a unique pipe called the Great Dane Corncob. Now, before I talk about the 2 different styles they have, I was curious, is Great Dane a standard pipe shape? Or is this something that is kind of special to Missouri Meerschaum?
It's interesting. I have personally never heard of a Great Dane shaped pipe before. I mean, we're obviously familiar with the Missouri Meerschaum pipe, but no, I'm not familiar with one.
Okay, well, so they've got 2 different styles, which is the spool and a new one called the spindle.
Yeah, and if I'm familiar, the spool has been around a while. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah, so the spool Great Dane pipe has been around quite some time, and think about like a spool that you would actually put like yarn on or something. Like it's a spool.
Yeah, and if actually, the funny thing is I look at it, and maybe it's because I'm not necessarily a sewer, but to me, that looks a lot like a champagne cork.
Yeah, I can totally see that. Absolutely.
Right there. But yeah, obviously very inspired by the spool. Yep. They've also got the spindle. Now, the spindle's really cool because it takes, that spool type of look, squishes it in, has kind of almost like a ring around it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that when you do think about like a sewing kit and the string, like that fine string.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can totally see that wrapping around this pipe.
It fits in nicely. And that bulge in the middle, that ring is just in the perfect spot to conform to your hand. So yeah, great pipes.
Just a wonderful display of what Missouri Meerschaum can do with these amazing corncob pipes. They've got unique shapes like these. And actually in the show notes for this episode, you'll see images for both of these pipes to give you a better idea of what we're talking about. And hey, if you've got a spool or spindle from Missouri Meerschaum, take a picture of yourself smoking it this week, show some love, tweet it to us. We'll retweet them out. We love doing that. We love Missouri Meerschaum for helping bring this show to you. All right, pipe question of the week. Ow! Pipe question of the week. This week is kind of overshot.
I'm so excited.
All right, pipe question of the week this week is brought to us by Orlick Dark Strong Kentucky.
Man, that stuff is fine. Have you had it yet, Bo?
DSK, I have not had it.
Man, it is so good. Every time we get a can of that here in the shop, it flies out of here. But man, Orlick Dark Strong Kentucky, it's their second best-selling tobacco, if I'm correct, in the Orlick line.
Well, here's a little tobacco trivia for you.
Yeah, what you got?
Even though that is definitely the case today, did you know that it was actually discontinued back in 2008?
No, I didn't realize that.
It was only brought back in 2015 because of the popular demand.
Okay.
And has, since become their second best selling tobacco that's out there.
Well, when you open the tin, think of, we all love bacon, right? Unless you're like religiously against it, but like when you open the tin, think of like think of I'm religiously for
right.
Think of St. Paul was very clear on that, but think when you open the tin, think of little strips of bacon. You've got kind of this like middle part that's lighter colored, and then the outer part is darker colored, and you've got your light Virginias and more moderate Virginias, and the outside is going to be I believe a little Cavendish, but that sweet dark strong Kentucky dark fired burley, and it's just so good, man. It's one of those tobaccos that is really rewarding, and you'll love it,
man. I can't wait to try it. I might even smoke it next time we're broadcasting live.
Yeah.
All right. So the pipe question this week was written in from Anonymous, which makes sense given the question that is asked. It is, how do you recommend someone telling their family, friends, or congregation that they smoke a pipe? Now, this is a really good question because, of course, we do have a lot of people that, you know, that we keep up with through the Facebook messages or even direct messages on Twitter, who, you know, they send in great pictures, but they like to keep the fact they're pipe smokers close to their chest.
Yeah.
How do you recommend actually letting folks in and be like, yeah, you know what? I smoke a pipe.
I smoke a pipe. Yeah. Interesting question. We actually get this more than you might think. And the anonymous person that writes in, he mentions congregation. So you might think there's like a church connection there, or, you know, some kind of group that might, you know, not
traditionally frown upon it.
Yeah, traditionally frown it. You know, you don't hang out with people that play cards and chew tobacco and smoke pipes, you know, whatever, or dance. I don't go to those
beer
or don't drink beer.
Well,
none of that is fun.
I mean, you
what
know,
universe do those people anyway?
I was about to go somewhere, but I'm not going to go there.
Don't do it. Yeah, but you know, it's always difficult. You know, there's that sense of dancing around. You know, being kind of who you are and what you do. There is that sense of wanting to respect other people's traditions and belief systems, and so you obviously have that. You know, there's certain people that maybe it's not the wisest thing to, you know, have a beer around. You know, for a variety of reasons. Maybe they come from a background that's very offensive, or you know, it might come from a background where that would cause them to stumble or something like that. So you know, you think about those kind of things. I actually get phone calls from listeners more often than you might think, and they go something like this: "Hey, I'm a youth minister. I'm a pastor. I live in such and such state. Listen to the show. I kind of know where y'all are coming from and everything on who you're at and what you believe. And like, do you have any recommendations on how to be myself with my pipe smoking in front of, you know, in front of people that don't know that and might be taken aback a little bit from that?" And you know, I wish I had a clear-cut answer for that question. We get it a lot. It's funny. You know, you would not think probably your normal pipe shop would get that question very often, but I do hear that a lot here at the Squire.
You know, the thing is, you got to think about the fact it can build bridges too.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
You were actually telling me, you know, at my church, we just brought in our new senior pastor.
New pastor, right?
And you were telling me he shops at the shop and dude, he's a pipe smoker.
He also smokes Parsons Blend.
I had no earthly idea.
And was a big fan of McClellan's 2015 Holiday Spirit. So I'm just saying.
You want to get that?
No.
Who's calling? Who's calling?
Someone's calling and they want to order some flambeau,
some Jar Jar blood.
Some Jar Jar blood. That's not going to be a new one. Yeah, but you know, I think it's muted enough to where people probably
it's gonna be fine.
Okay. The phone's ringing if our live viewers can't listen to that, and I thought I unplugged the phone, but obviously I failed.
No worries.
Yeah. So you know, my sense is, you know, always lean toward authenticity, right? As pipe smokers, you know, here comes the wannabe counselor kind of coming out in me. And obviously we do this a lot at the Squire because when you light a pipe up with someone, they'll tell you literally whatever you want to know. So we have deep conversations a lot at the Squire, but authenticity is so important to me. As a matter of fact, I kind of, in some ways, credit it in kind of saving my life to some sense, like, you know, being who you really are in front of the people that love you the most. And I don't want to get too preachy here, but I do want to say it. So I hope no one feels offended, but there's that sense in which, you know, when you are authentic in front of other people, and what I mean by that is when you are who you actually are in front of other people, you're not just doing that for their benefit, right? You're not just doing that so that they can know you, but you're also doing that so you know that they love the authentic you. So let me see if I can kind of parse that out a little bit. Like, you know, if I'm hiding this thing back here, whether it be pipe smoking or whatever, and I know you're my friend, but there's that doubt in my mind that you might not be my friend if you knew about this thing. Like bless yourself and tell that person that you smoke a pipe. You know, like be who you are. Like, but bless yourself. Tell that person you smoke a pipe, and give them the opportunity to care for you, for who you exactly really are. And I don't know. I think that sense of honesty and integrity is just it's freedom. You know,
that's good.
So I would find, you know, the people that you think are safest in your community and in your, you know, whether it be a congregation or group, and you know, discuss that with them.
Just say, hey, I'm going to go have a pipe. Who wants to come?
Who wants to come?
Yeah.
Party!
Hey, the other thing too is I would recommend checking out an episode we did a couple weeks back with Timothy about pipe smoking in seminary. And we actually get very specifically into, pastors, the struggle and finding the right moment or, whether or not it's the right moment, that sort of thing. So I definitely would encourage you to check that episode out.
Hey, dude, by the way, Timothy's engaged. That happened Friday night.
Can I call him just one last time just to put it in context?
One time.
Guys, the intern is getting married.
The intern's getting married. Like it's fantastic. Like Timothy, I think he's like 24 now, 23, 24. But this is a guy, recent college graduate. He's obviously works here at the Squire, is such an incredible man and just young, intellectual, funny guy, just real trustworthy and hilarious. And I love him to pieces, but dude, yeah, he's gonna jump the parade, man.
I can't believe it. I was so happy when I saw that on Facebook.
It was great, but you know what's funny is they're getting married like in 80 days. Like this thing's on the fast track. Apparently,
dude, that's how you do it. You lock it down.
Yeah, it's on lockdown. Yep. So he's like, you know what, we're not gonna fool around. We're gonna get this done, and so Timothy's getting married.
He's eager. Hey, look, y'all send your thanks. Don't call him the intern though.
He really doesn't like that. So
Timothy is his name.
His name is Timothy. So if you come around the shop and you're one of our local folks, be sure to congratulate Timothy on his recent engagement.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right, quick fire with the Squire.
Bring it.
All right, this is actually coming from listener Breyer.
Okay.
Who says,
good friend of the show,
pirate or astronaut?
Oh, that's a really good one. Wow, I can't believe I have to turn this one down, but I might have to go with astronaut.
How about an astronaut pirate?
I mean, yeah, there is that concept.
All right. The spaceship's flying up, then another spaceship comes over and they shoot out like laser beams.
Well, I'm just saying, in sci-fi, there's kind of this tradition of space navy, themes, right? So a lot of times, when we think of things flying into outer space, we think of maybe like a jet plane, but a lot of literature writers in sci-fi treat spaceships more like a navy, than an air force. And so, if you've got that navy, and maybe you have an eye patch over your helmet. Awesome. I'm just saying, and a parrot that also has a spacesuit on, and a hook.
Like the parrot has a hook?
Yeah, the parrot has a hook. I got to go with astronaut.
I love it. All right, I'm going to go with pirate.
Okay.
T-Rex or pterodactyl? Spelled with a P, apparently.
Pterodactyl, because the T-Rex has the little stubby arms.
Yeah, but I mean,
it couldn't hold a pipe in his mouth.
If it leaned down, it couldn't light.
It could do like a. It couldn't light.
It couldn't light.
It could do like a hookah. No, I don't think it could do anything.
I don't even think pterodactyls.
How did T-Rexes even survive? How did they even make it? If their arms are so small,
they didn't. They didn't.
Oh wait. Next question.
Zeppelin or hot air balloon?
That was fantastic. I'm gonna go with hot air balloon because they're safer.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I just, when I think of Zeppelin, I think of that giant picture of the Hindenburg being caught on fire in, what was that, New Jersey or something in the 30s. I just don't want to be near that. So hot air balloon.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. And then finally, and this is so good, Shredder or Dr. Claw? And
yeah, I don't know who Dr. Claw is.
I'll get you, Gadget, if it's the last thing I do.
Oh, that guy. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go with Shredder, but that's great. I hadn't heard that reference in a long time.
That's pretty good.
Hey,
Dr. Claw,
well done. Yeah, it's well done. Probably because you have the flu. I'm just kidding.
Right. Actually, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Shredder as well, just because you actually saw Shredder. You never actually saw Dr. Claw. You're not even sure, honestly, if Dr. Claw even exists.
Oh, that's true. Wasn't Dr. Claw more? It was always on the phone.
Well, you saw his hand and his cat, and there was one time
in the cat. That's right.
Yeah, there was one time where they actually turned the chair around, but it was just like the hand.
Oh, really?
And so it was kind of like, you thought you had me, Gadget. That kind of thing. I don't know, man. I don't know, but I'm going Shredder. Definitely Shredder. All right, man. Well, great quick fire questions from Breyer.
Absolutely.
And hey, if you got some quick fire questions for us, send them in. CSR@podastery.com. Listener feedback this week. By the way, guys, on the live Twitter handle, if y'all are watching live, you want to send in some listener feedback, now's the time to do it. Listener feedback, we got a great iTunes review in from HLWIII.
You want me to read it?
Wee! He says, this is a revelation podcast if you're getting into pipes. Good production value and great chemistry between the hosts. The hots.
This is the hots, and I appreciate that.
Thank you. Between the hosts. Love the live broadcast from YouTube also. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that feedback.
Absolutely. That's great. Next one comes from email from CPT Kirk. Captain Kirk.
Captain Kirk.
Yeah, he says, "Good afternoon, fellow nerds and pipe smokers."
That's us.
Yeah, I guess we wear that as a badge of honor.
I go with geek, but sure.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever. He says, "Good afternoon, fellow nerds and pipe smokers. I just finished listening to the last podcast, and I have one comment to make about Jar Jar Binks." Oh, wow. You're either still reading this because of the title, or you immediately deleted it because of the title. He says, "Anywho, here it is. Here is the Reddit. Let's see. Anywho."
Here's what he does. He sends in a link to this theory.
Yeah.
That has been passed around the internet. That What if Jar Jar Binks is actually not this bumbling idiot? What if he's actually the Dark Lord of the Sith and is in fact the responsible for, everything, the Empire rising and everything else? I mean, and intentionally so.
Yeah. I mean, that gives me more reason to dislike him, but then that makes him more essential, which means I can't be bitter against George Lucas as much as I was before.
I think you can if you want to.
No, I can't. I can harbor bitterness if I want. What do they say? Bitterness is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die.
Oh, that's
George Lucas. I'm waiting. I'm just kidding.
No, man. No,
it's not that bad.
No, look, George. That theory that is passed around from time to time. I can't. You're going down a path I cannot follow.
It's kind of fun though.
Star Wars.
What would Star Wars be, especially with these new episodes coming out without the speculation? I don't know. I like it.
Yeah. I like the speculation. That one's too much. But anyway, it's great because it brings it full circle. Reading that prior to starting the show had Jar Jar Binks on the mind. It's so appropriate for cherry tobacco.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, who knew that we'd have so much fun talking cherry tobacco?
We really did. I'm actually really enjoying this bowl of flambeau that I'm smoking, and my Bing's favorite. And I'm gonna, if I can keep it lit, that's the problem. I'm gonna at some point figure out how to keep it lit.
Well, look, we've gotten some great listener feedback in this week. And if you've got some listener feedback to send to us, send it in csr@podastery.com. You can also send it in through Facebook. You can send it in through Twitter. You can also send it in the form of iTunes reviews. If you head over to iTunes and write us a review, it is a great way to give us that feedback and help support the show. If you're not rocking an iPhone and you are rocking an Android, we encourage you to check us out on the Satchel Podcast Player. Currently on Android, soon to be available on iPhone. So that's pretty awesome.
Yep.
We also want to encourage you to check out the links to our sponsors, including a direct link to the shop at countrysquireradio.com. You can also find wonderful products at thecountrysquireonline.com.
That's right.
You can follow us on Twitter, our personal accounts. I'm at the Real Bo York.
I'm at John David Cole, and you can get us at the shop at @_Country Squire.
Or you can follow the show at Squire Radio, or you know what, just countrysquireradio.com. We got direct links to all that, all of our social information and more. We also love for you to tune in live, and those of you who do, we really appreciate it. You can tune in live every single Monday night.
Here we go.
At 6:30 Pacific. Nope. At 6:30. You jinxed me.
No, go ahead. You're doing great.
At 6:30 Central, that's 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern. countrysquireradio.com.
That involves like math and stuff, and like you did well.
You know what it is? It's because the funny thing is, it's an inside joke. We'll go ahead and let you on the inside. But in our show notes, the times that I say are not the times that are actually in the show notes. But because of the way my dyslexic mind works, I kept our old times so that I would have to auto-correct myself with the new times. It's confusing, and it's intentionally so.
I think my favorite part about the time deal, though, was when listener Graham walked in the shop one day and got really defensive about how we referred to Central Standard Time.
Oh, yeah.
And it was actually since Central Daylight Time. And ever since then, to be honest, we've had to be careful.
No, I across all of my shows, honestly, it changed my life. That is not a joke.
I didn't really know that there was a difference, but
there is.
The more you know.
All right. Well, hey, man, let's go have a night.
See you, brother.
Thanks for everybody tuning in to the YouTube show. Really appreciate you guys sticking with us, especially those of you who tuned in for the first like 5, 6, 18 minutes of nothing but silence. I don't think it was that long.
No, it was like 3 minutes.
One way or the other. We do apologize for that. And really appreciate y'all sticking with us. Y'all have a great week.
Good night, y'all.